Hi, my name is Phil Uglow and I'm the president of Renshi Consulting Group. At Renshi, what we do is work with companies to lower their costs. And we do that by working with your folks to improve their confidence, which improves idea flow. And ultimately, the number one thing we do is work with your folks to get things done. So, okay, every consultant says that. Hey, I'll lower your costs. So why is Renshi different? So what we do is nothing. Nothing, you might ask? Let me explain. Other consultants sell you on teaching your employees various techniques and processes, and this never works. The problem with teaching people things is, at best, they're going to retain about 10% of that knowledge. And I can guarantee you that if they go to the weekend course or even the course in the morning and they go to an afternoon meeting or the Monday meeting, nothing will ever change. What we do is ask what your employees want, what you and your employees want. Then we observe. Most of the time, in our experience, your employees already know what to do to get better. There's just something that's blocking them. And what we do is work up and down the organization chain to figure out what that is. And even then, we don't tell people thou shalt do this so somebody can do that. What we do is get people together and have them learn through their own processes what's the right thing to do and how to implement it. And then, of course, we teach them how to track all that stuff. It's the process of your team understanding what they want and what they need to do to get it that's the important thing, not the actual skills themselves. This is often called thinking about thinking. So your folks think about how to implement and improve these processes rather than just having a process dictated to them. So that's what we do. We do nothing, so your people have to work through that. But we coach your folks through that process because it can be difficult. This makes a project with Renshi quick, sustainable, and extremely cost-effective. When talking with potential clients and telling them that we do nothing, I get a lot of questions about what does that look like? To help you understand what a Renshi implementation looks like, I'm going to put together a few short videos that will take you through the process to show you how we get things done. They are true stories, only the names are changed. They actually happen. And at the end of each one, I'll provide a quick overview of what we did and how that improved the team's performance. So today's video is going to show you what happens on day one of an implementation. And this particular implementation took place with a large oil and gas firm. It was located in the Arctic on a drilling rig that was about 20 years old. And the goal was to improve safety and performance on the rig. The ultimate metric, of course, was to reduce the recordable frequency injury rate. And this group had been through various safety programs for many, many years, yet their safety performance was still high, too high for their oil and gas client. So we wanted to go above and beyond that. We wanted to change the actual culture on the rig so that safety and performance, we believe those are both intertwined, became a cultural norm. It's the way things are on this rig. So what was the plan? Before we start, we put an implementation plan together. We show it to the client. We get an agreement about what we're going to do, what the results are. And generally, within the first week, if not the first day, that goes out the window. We're always aware of the ultimate goal, in this case, improve performance and safety. And the plan can go out the window because, as I said previously, things change. What people are working on, what's causing them trouble in the moment, change. And so we don't want to have a rigorous plan that makes no sense to the frontline folks that we're primarily coaching. So what we do is learn to adapt on the fly. So my goal on day one of this project was just to meet the senior leader on the rig, called the tool pusher. His name was Dale. And meet his crew and just observe what they were doing. So that morning I got up about 5 o'clock, drove over to the trailer where the pre-tower meeting was being held, and that was being run by Dale, who I mentioned who was the tool pusher. And I hadn't met Dale before. We'd been introduced by email, so I went up and I shook his hand. And it still blows me away. Every time I do that, these people are so receptive to see me, even though I'm going to be seeing all the things that they do, good and bad. So I sometimes compare it to inviting someone into your home, into your family, and having them observe you and then telling you all the good and bad things you do as a parent. So that takes quite a bit of confidence. However, every successful senior leader I have talked to is always extremely open to that. They want to get better, and Dale was no exception. So then the crew arrived and they started streaming into the meeting room, and they sat down. They had their cups of coffee and their heads were almost sinking into the coffee. They were tired. They weren't very attentive. And then Dale started the meeting, and he gave them a quick update. Hey, here's what happened last night. There was a kick here. Otherwise, there were no problems. And then Dale went into the safety moment of the day. So in this case, Dale just read a statement from a piece of paper, and there was no questioning, no feedback or anything. Dale did ask for questions. He gave them about 1 second to do that. Nobody raised their heads from their coffee. They'd been there, done that before. So then he said, okay, let's get out to the rig. Dale hung back and asked for some feedback. I told him that the meeting was great. It was actually awful, but that wasn't my goal today. My goal today was just to start building a relationship and trust. Telling him that the meeting was horrible because everybody slept through it. Nobody responded to any safety issues or had any questions whatsoever, and they walked off out of the room looking pretty tired and not motivated would not get me very far. So, but that's all I wanted. I just wanted to get into a meeting, not appear too threatening, and have that initial conversation with Dale. And then the next thing that Dale asked was what I was going to do with him and his crew. And I told him, like I explained to you before, I said, nothing. And then there's a pregnant pause with the look, nothing? We're paying you to do nothing? And then I chuckle a little bit, and then I tell Dale that really I'm going to do nothing. Your crew and you are going to do everything. Because when you think about it, if they don't do it, then I'm just preaching. And like I said before, preaching doesn't stick. I explained that to Dale, and he kind of nods that he agrees with me, but he doesn't really get it yet. But that's okay. Doing nothing is probably very non-threatening to him. So with that, my meeting with Dale ended, and we headed off to the rig. So what did we learn? Number one, the meeting was awful. There was no crew engagement, for example. Number two, I didn't tell Dylan that. A lot of people would have jumped in right away and explained all of these things, but that wasn't the goal here. Remember what the goal was to just build that rapport, that trust, so that I could work with Dale down the road. And by the way, Dale turned out to be one of the best leaders I've ever worked with. So for me, it was a great start. I didn't get kicked out of the meeting. I started to build the relationship with Dale, and I already saw a number of things that I could do that could help these folks perform safer and better. So that's it for now. The next video will continue on with the first day on the rig. So if you're watching this video, like me, you're probably interested in improving your company's performance. If that's of interest now, there's a link below with my contact information, so give me a shout. And also, if you have any questions and you don't want to, call me and all that stuff, then you can post those down there and I'll reply to them as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.